Yeah, man, I'm always doing something crazy. Like, okay, so look, the other night we played in Marietta, Ohio. I don't know if you could tell, but I broke my nose.
Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Belgian Jasper. If this is your first time in the channel, hit subscribe right now.
John Fred, the man that beats his drums so hard they had to give him two names. Thank you so much for your time today. And beating drums hard, I understand we have your uncle to thank for that.
We do, yeah. So I have a uncle, Fred, and who plays drums for the Kentucky Headhunters, and then my dad, Richard, guitar in the Headhunters. And so yeah, definitely, I took after my uncle Fred. You know, I played guitar when I was a kid. Like my dad tried to get me to, you know, learn how, and I love guitars, but as a kid, like I just couldn't make bar chords, and it was so hard. So I just I naturally floated over to the drums, man.
So you and Chris started playing together in grade 8, if I remember correctly, and then
That's right.
Been playing together. Except for, is it true that he kicked you out of a band one day or something like that?
Well, I don't know. We've probably kicked each other out of the band. So Chris and I went to school since kindergarten with each other. So we've grown up together, and I did a talent show when I was in 7th grade. I brought my drums to school, went up there, beat around on them, had no idea really what I was doing, and got 3rd place. Yeah. And so Chris came up to me after we got done. We were in the gym, and he was like, "Hey man, my dad's gonna get me a guitar this summer," and he said, "We should go down to your dad and uncle's practice house and try to play some songs, start a band." It was pretty much over, man, after that, because that was, you know, anything that I think either of us thought we might do, that was the starting point of the rest of our lives together. And then when we were probably, let's see, end of sophomore year in high school, we had a little hangout down at the practice house, and one of our buddies brought Ben down, and Ben went to the next school over from us. He went to Glasgow. We went to Metcalf, and we had amps set up and drums and stuff. So he just sat in and kind of jammed around with us, and we were like, "Dude, come back tomorrow and let's like actually play some stuff." So it was June 4th, 2001. Ben came down that next day, and that's when we started the band. And that was Chris's 16th birthday, which we just celebrated Chris's 38th birthday.
Yep.
On the 4th, and then the band's 22nd anniversary. So pretty wild, dude.
I mean, so basically what you're saying is that we have to call you guys now classic rock or dad rock or something like that, because you're a legacy band now.
Yeah, I think, you know, I don't think we've earned the title yet as classic rock, but dad rock. And we definitely have the dad bods. So, well, Ben and Steve, they work out constantly all the time. They're the gym dads, man. They get out there and kill it. But yeah, it's funny because we do look back, and you know, we released our first record in 2006.
Yeah,
it's so funny meeting people that come up and they're in their, you know, probably late 20s, mid 20s, and they're like, "Man, like I love you guys. Like I first heard about you guys off of you know, SmackDown versus Raw when I was playing that video game." And that it's so funny because when we got offered to put it, the song was Lonely Train.
Yeah.
And we had an offer come in, and it said, you know, "Hey, if you want to, would you want to be a part of this video game with your song?" And we were like, "Absolutely," you know. and it didn't pay hardly anything. It was just, we knew, we're like, we're a young band. This is, something that's going to be really cool, and hopefully some people hear it. All these kids that were playing, like, I guess that was 2006. So I know it came out for PS2, but I guess it was on Xbox 360, maybe. I think that was the big model it came out on, if I'm not wrong. But they're like, yeah, dude, I heard your song on that, and we all video game than they did hearing it on the radio. And I was like, oh man, that's cool. How old were you? Well, I was 8 years old, man. I'm 20. I'm 30 now. So, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Screamin At The Sky is coming our way in September. They're already making you do interviews. Let's just say that this release is affected by a feeling of like I've outdone myself, but actually very successful and did really good things for you guys. But there was almost like a crippling sense of uncertainty at the time. Now times have changed completely. How is it for you now? Like, how are you experiencing it this time?
Well, let's go back to that just a second. I mean, when we did the Human Condition, yeah, it was the biggest, crap show in the world, man. And like it affected everybody. There were bands that, had albums that they were coming out too, and like us, and tours got canceled. So and everybody has been playing catch up, right, over the years, right? Like, so doing, trying to get like tours back together, and now we're finally at that point where things are back to rock and roll, and this album is going to be awesome. I mean, really, I'm so super proud of everything on there. I know Steve, Chris, and Ben are. We worked really hard on it, and we did this record a little different. So during all the downtime and stuff, Chris and I bought up a lot of really cool audio gear and studio stuff, and so when we started writing for this record, we do everything on the back of the tour bus, right? Because it's really it's not cost effective to go just rent out a studio to go write anymore. I mean, it's like you got to budget everything, right? So that's how we've done things over the years. A lot. We've done a lot of writing in the back of the bus, in hotel rooms, and in living rooms, and at sound check. So we're used to that, and it feels pretty natural to us to write like that. And anytime, the great thing is too, is Chris just brings out his rig, and we can sit on the back of the bus and just plug in and get it really, really great, demos that way. And when we got enough songs, we were like, okay, so where are we going to do the drums at? And, we thought, we were like, oh man, we could go to some bigger studios and stuff like that. They have great drum rooms. But we were like, you know what? Let's see if we can rent out the Plaza Theater, very historical old theater in Glasgow, Kentucky, where Ben and Steve live, and it worked out. It was wonderful. We tracked, like the rough guitar parts there and rough vocals, just so I could have something to play to. And the way we record now is everybody sits down in the control room while I play, and everybody gets to microscope what I'm doing. And it really helps me, because there's a lot of times, like I will have a part, and if I get stuck on it, I've got, 4 or 5 other sets of ears going, hey man, why don't you try this or try that? And that's always been super helpful and super cool, because it's not just, and I know back in the day, everybody used to record, simultaneously, especially in the era of the Beatles, and you look at like Ray Charles and stuff, all those incredible studio players playing like, one takes, obviously, and for us, it was, I love that stuff, but I think that when you can sit back and as a drummer, me personally sit back and have everybody, critique you. It can drive you crazy because you're like, oh my gosh. But at the same time, it's really nice because you get so many extra sets of ears. And you really, what's cool about us is when we go to do guitars and vocals and stuff, everybody's doing their part one at a time. So it's nice. We get to sit there and really hone in on everybody's part and become helpers of that instrument, Yeah. So after we got the drums done, we came back to my house, and I've got 2 spare bedrooms back here, and we just I made a vocal booth out of PVC pipe, and I cut all that stuff, and we put moving blankets over it, and like I even think I had one of my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle big covers. We did stuff really intuitively, very DIY. Exactly. But we had all. I think the day that we're in now, it's you can make an incredible product. You don't have to have the world's best gear. You just have to really. You really have to have the song at the beginning of everything. It's not, take everything else out. You have to have a great song. Yeah, we're super proud of it, man. Of course, we did Out of Pocket, came out. I think we did that on the UK tour, which was incredible. And at the first of the year. And now, Nervous is doing great. We shot a killer video for that song down in Nashville, and our buddy Kyle directed it, and it came out great. Mateo, the actor in it, he did a wonderful job, and it was fun because, we haven't. There's not been too many videos where we acted in the video. We got our act, so, and I think we're semi good actors, it was fun getting to do that.
When you're talking about being very comfortable with playing your stuff and having all these people around you that are not necessarily drummers themselves, but to listen and to give you some ideas, that is a very sober and mature way. Is that when you got started, when you were a kid, basically? Is that something that you learned over the years, or did you always have that? Because I get to speak to a lot of artists, and I'm not going to say that the majority of them welcomes feedback from everyone when they are, creating art.
Well, I understand that point, and no, it can be challenging at times because I think, as a musician, right? It doesn't matter if you singer, drummer, keyboard player, guitarist, bass. You're always. I think a lot of I think a lot of musicians, when they're going to play and track, and for the song, there a lot of times there's a part that they feel very passionate about, that they're attached with. And it's hard sometimes because sometimes you nail it, right? And you're like, oh, man, okay, great. Everybody in the band digs it, But we all 4 started, we've been writing for so long. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Steve in the band in 2020. And, he's a great writer, great guitar player. What's funny is, he's a drummer, too. And I'm actually kind of surrounded by drummers. So Chris, the drummer, Ben won't admit it. He's a pretty good little drummer too, man. When sometimes at sound check he'll get back there and sit on my kit. So, but I think the teamwork is what's really important with us, because when we were kids, right, teenagers. Right. My dad, Richard, who plays with the Headhunters, amazing songwriter. Not just because he's my dad, but he really truly is. And he would sit down with us and help us learn how to craft songs. Right. And we were, I think the special thing about us is when we were teenagers, we had a vision of what we wanted to sound like, right? We wanted to take all these classic rock bands, your Cream, Zeppelin, Aerosmith, Skinner, the Stones, Beatles, Sabbath, list goes on. We wanted to take all that because we were being influenced by that, because we were down here rehearsing in my dad and uncle's old house, and it had posters.
All the posters, yeah.
Yeah, man. So we got that, but then also we were influenced by, the coolest heavy bands at the time too, like our bros in Seven Dust. Mm-hmm. Loved the Korn stuff that was on MTV. There was a lot of bands that were out. Obviously, it's like just a given. Pantera, Metallica, all that. So we were taking the influences of that stuff and the classic rock stuff, and then also like we're looking at like all these old Motown posters and all the blues stuff growing up in the practice house too. But yeah, like Howlin' Wolf and Aretha, Sam Cooke and B.B. King, and it just, man, it turned into this, like, I don't know, big melting pot of Blackstone Cherry. But back to what I was saying is, when we were kids, we had a lot of help from my dad, and I think that was being able to accept like the education of how to write songs and maybe how to craft parts. And then that just kind of stuck with us. So as we've grown, we've never been really closed-minded to ideas and things. We're always like, okay, let's give it a try. Absolutely. If it doesn't work, no worries. And that's always been the team initiative of what we always do. Kind of our motto is like, yeah, heck yeah, we'll try it and see if it works. So I think in writing too, if you're really open-minded, even if a part seems kind of nuts at the time, and trust me, there's been parts where, like, I'll be playing, and even this last record, I was in there, I was playing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was like, this is not working. And everybody in the control room's like, dude, you're nailing it. That's the best part ever. But then I'll go sit, at the kit, and I'm like playing this really, kind of like hard drum part fill or whatever, and everybody's like, hey man, what if you did this? So it helps, it works. I mean, even we do that with the melodies, right? Because we all write music and lyrics, and so when Chris goes to sing, we're all in there listening for alternate melodies, alternate lyrics, even guitar parts and stuff. Like, I don't play guitar. I can play G, A, and E, but like I'll hum guitar parts, and through my silliness of humming stuff, like they'll find something and try it and see if it works. I think in bands, it's really one of the most important things is just being open-minded enough to try things in, even if, the other guy is not like an exceptional, drummer or guitar, whatever. You just, filter that, because I think, I know a lot of artists get locked into that thing of like, okay, I've been doing this 30 years and I'm a master of my instrument. But if you get somebody who's not a master of that instrument, they'll have a different way of hearing something, and that's cool, Mm-hmm. And it's like me, I'm not a professional piano player. I can play chords and pick out melodies, but I can't, like, I'm not at a level to even go play in a bar right now and just like jump. And so, but it's fun, man. Writing songs is cool, and it's something we've done since we were teenagers, and it keeps evolving every record, So this new record, Screamin At The Sky, it's a compilation of a lot of great songs. I think that our playing on it is really, really great. We work very hard, and Chris sounds wonderful on it. It's great, man. I hope everybody digs it.
The things my father said would make me a better man.
We're very, very fortunate to be able to travel and see different places.
Right.
And, very, very lucky guys, and especially like you're talking about Grass Pop over in Belgium. Like I remember that year, the first year, 2008, which I actually sprained my ankle really bad. Like I had it wrapped up at that show. We were out with Whitesnake and Def Leppard that summer. We did the arenas with them, and then if I'm not mistaken on all this, We were playing football, and we were throwing a football around in the parking lot, and I went to go grab the ball, and I tripped over a trailer hitch, and dude, my ankle, I mean, it popped, and it swelled up like a grapefruit. And I remember I can't remember if we still had, maybe we had one show left with Def Leppard and Whitesnake. We were opening the shows in the arenas, and then we went on. I think we went on and did the European stuff, like the festival circuit. But yeah, man, I'm always doing something crazy. Like, okay, so look, the other night we played in Marietta, Ohio. I don't know if you can tell, but I broke my nose.
Yeah,
it's actually looking a lot better now. But I walked outside. Right, it was like 10 minutes before we had to go on. And Ben was outside, so I stepped off the bus, and our bus was parked on a slope, really steep slope. So I was talking to him, and I had kind of like the door. I was holding the door, I was talking, and I kind of did one of those like push back to like throw the door, you know, where it would latch. And when I got done talking, I was like, cool, man. All right, I'll see you in a second. Well, I took a step back and turned. When I did, the door was swinging open. You're talking about an 800-pound bus door. And it just catches me right here, knocks me out. You know, Ben actually, I saw stars and everything, and I didn't know if somebody had hit me at first or what had happened. And Ben was like, dude, he got me. I was out, man. I was like jumping through the parking lot trying to, you know, get my balance. And he put his arm around me. He's like, dude, the bus door hit you in the face. You got knocked out. And I was like, what's going on, dude? And it's the worst pain. Like, oh, it hurt so bad. So we had to bandage it up. And Jeff, our drum tech, he's also a chiropractor. He's got, you know, tons of medical training. He's like, man, lay your head back. He's like, put Q-tips up there, and he's like, it's broke, buddy. It's like, all right, let's go play. So we were a couple minutes late, played that show, and so I just got back from my ear, nose, throat doctor yesterday, Mr. Wilson. Gotta give him a shout out. He's a great one here in town, and my buddy, and he's like, no, you're good, dude. He's like, it's gonna take some time for the swelling to completely go, and but man, I tell you, getting hit in the nose, man, that's different.
So where there's a sun that's shining.
So when you go back inside after this interview, watch out.
I am. Well, I have 3 little girls, and they leave their toys everywhere. So, I trip on those, and, hey, man, it's all good. I'm still here.
There you go. Your life is a little bit like a cartoon, is what you're saying.
Life is a cartoon.
There you go. There you go. On that hopeful note, we'll wrap it up. There's a lot still coming. You're going to be, at the end of this year and all of next year, you're going to be extremely busy. So I would say take the rest that you can now, because it's going to be yet another crazy ride. John, Fred, I can't wait to see you guys on the stage again. Whether that's at a European festival at 4 o'clock in the afternoon with beer in my hand, the sun in my face, or whether that's in you guys headlining a venue in North America, whatever, it doesn't matter. But I look forward to it, and we can catch up then and talk more about ancient pinball machines and doors slamming and all that kind of good stuff. Thank you so much for your time, my friend, and super stoked about the new music coming out, even if we, at the time that we're recording this, still have to wait a little bit until September.
It'll be here before we know it.
There you go. There you go. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
London, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.